Hello students, so now we'll start with the next part of the chapter, that is the placenta formation. So what is placenta? It is a link between the mother and the fetus. So how will we define it? Placenta is the mechanical and physiological connection between the maternal and fetal tissue. Okay, and the weight will be around 500 gram. So see, we have seen this is the fetal, this is the maternal part of the embryo, this is the fetal part. This whole part is maternal part, this is fetal part. In between there will be the endometrium. Here the embryo or the blastula is implanted here. So the maternal part will be formed here, fetal part will be formed here. Between will be the endometrium. The endometrium lining will also surround the maternal part. So the main part where the fetus is implanted will be this part. In this part the fetus will be implanted. So here in between the placenta is formed. Okay, means if we see, suppose this is the embryo, this is the placenta. There will be a structure in between. This is known as the umbilical cord. Umbilical cord connects the placenta and the fetus. Okay. So this fetal part, as we have seen, this is made of chorion or chorionic villi. Maternal part is made of decidua or decidual part. So here mainly what you need is the definition of placenta and the functions. We'll see the different functions. The main function of placenta will be nourishment. So transport of nourishment from mother to fetus. Along with nourishment, respiratory gases are also transferred. So transport of respiratory gases. Next, the placenta will secrete certain hormone like progesterone. These are needed to maintain pregnancy. So these are secreted by placenta. Progesterone, estrogen, human chorionic gonadotropin. Human chorionic gonadotropin, HCG. This is an important hormone. This hormone is used to see the presence of, means if this hormone is present in pregnancy test, this hormone is tested. If this hormone is present, that means the woman or the female is pregnant. So this hormone is important in case of pregnancy. In other females this hormone is not present, only in pregnant females this is present. So human chorionic gonadotropin. The next one more hormone, human chorionic lactogen. This is also secreted by placenta. Then placenta will also act as a barrier. Act as a barrier between the fetus and the mother. But certain things will also cross. There are exceptions like AIDS, certain drugs. This can cross from the mother to the fetus. Okay. The next, placenta will also help in passive immunity. Passive immunity, why? Because placenta helps in crossing the antibody IgG to the fetus. So the fetus will have IgG antibody from birth. Hence it will have passive immunity from birth. Placenta will also remove nitrogenous waste from fetus. Okay, so these are the important functions of placenta. So this placenta is formed in 11 weeks. After the woman is pregnant, in 11 weeks, this placenta is formed. Okay, so this is much about placenta that you need. The next part is parturition. So what is parturition? Parturition is the expulsion of the fetus from the mother's uterus. So first you have to know the definition. Parturition is the expulsion of fully formed fetus from mother's uterus, from the mother's uterus after completion of 9 months of gestation. The baby is generally inside the mother's womb for 9 months, so that is a gestation period. Okay, when the baby is inside the mother's womb. So expulsion of the fully formed fetus from mother's uterus after completion of the gestation period. So that is parturition, means that when the baby is got out. So this parturition occurs, or the process occurs in a neuroendocrine mechanism. Means nervous system and endocrine system is involved in bringing the baby out. So we'll see the different steps. First, what will start the parturition? Something has to start. The baby should start coming out due to some factor. So that factor is fetal ejection factor, and that will be secreted by the fully formed fetus, and placenta will release fetal ejection factor. Okay, after this factor is released, this reaches the maternal blood. So after it reaches maternal blood, what will happen? This factor will stimulate mild uterine contractions. Uterus has to be contracted in order for the baby to come out. So when this factor will reach the maternal blood, it will stimulate mild uterine contractions. So this contraction, since it is occurred by fetal ejection factor, this contraction is known as fetal ejection reflex. After this, when fetal ejection reflex occurs, means mild contractions are occurring, this will stimulate the maternal pituitary gland to release the hormone oxytocin. Oxytocin is known as birth hormone because this will help in uterine contraction. So it will stimulate maternal pituitary gland to release oxytocin, which will increase the contractions. That increase of contraction is known as labor pain. Next, after this, when labor pain starts occurring, then the cervix of the female is dilated due to another hormone, relaxin. This is known as expulsion. So during expulsion, two things will go. One is amnion ruptures and the umbilical cord is cut. Okay, umbilical cord is cut, and after birth, so expulsion means the baby has come out. So after birth, what is lost? What do we don't need? Placenta is lost. We don't need the connection anymore, so placenta is lost. So this is the neuroendocrine mechanism. The fetus and placenta will release a factor, fetal ejection factor, that will reach the maternal blood. It will stimulate very mild uterine contractions. That is the reflex. So that will stimulate the pituitary gland of the mother to release oxytocin hormone, which is birth hormone, and that will cause severe contractions in the uterus. That is labor pain. So when labor pain occurs, the cervix becomes dilated due to relaxin hormone, and finally expulsion of the baby occurs. When expulsion occurs, amnion will rupture, umbilical cord is cut, and after birth, placenta is lost. So sometimes when these things do not occur normally, suppose the uterine contraction is not occurring normally, cervix is not getting dilated, then surgical removal of the fetus occurs. And this surgical removal of fetus is known as C-section or cesarean section of the baby. Okay, this is parturition. You can note down the process from here. Then we have the last part of this chapter, which is lactation. Lactation means after the baby has been born, the baby needs to get nourished. So for that we have the mother's milk. So that formation, secretion and ejection of mother's milk is known as lactation. Okay, so this lactation occurs at the end of pregnancy. It occurs at the end of pregnancy, and when the baby will suck the nipple, then the milk comes out. So certain hormones are responsible for lactation. One is prolactin hormone. Prolactin hormone, what will it do? It will stimulate alveoli of the mammary glands or of the breast, stimulates the alveoli of the mammary glands to produce milk. Okay. Another hormone is oxytocin. Oxytocin will help in contraction of the muscles around the mammary gland. Contraction of muscles around the mammary gland. Very important thing, the first produced milk of the mother which the baby drinks, that is known as colostrum. Later it is known as regular milk only, but the first produced milk which comes out first, that is colostrum. It is pale yellow in color, it is thick. Pale yellow, it is thicker, and very important, it contains antibody IgA. So this will help in giving antibody to the baby. Okay, it will give immunity to the baby. So IgA is present in colostrum. This comes in exam, so remember. So with this, we have come to the end of chapter 3, which is human reproduction.